listening to the Liquid Shape Podcast with your host, Cody Perez.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Liquid Shape Podcast with Cody Perez.
And Mariah Longfellow.
Oh, yeah. And it is Saturday night. We are recording this a little late because, your boy was a little lazy. I was out early last night.
The least lazy person. What do you mean?
Yeah, but I was out early. Friday night. Who the fuck goes to sleep at the time that I went to bed?
We went to bed. Well, I didn't go to bed, but we went to bed at like 9:30 because you were already half passed out on the couch watching that Clint Eastwood movie I like.
Oh, yeah. Gran Torino. I fucking love that.
That's a good movie.
That's going to be me when I'm older, I swear. I'm just a grumpy-ass old man. And not that I'll be spewing racist shit, but
slurs.
I will probably be saying, I'll probably be saying things that are not PC because, fucking 40 years from now when I'm that age, the things that I grew up being okay with saying or doing or whatnot are not going to be acceptable, I'm sure, like in 40 years.
Yeah.
And I won't change my ways because I am a stubborn asshole like that. I could see myself being like Clint Eastwood on that movie where he's just angry and just a straight up, I'll do it myself and fucking whatever. Like, I love that movie. I don't know.
It's a good movie.
And it's
I've always
hilarious.
liked Clint Eastwood, though.
Did you finish watching it?
No, because we went upstairs, but I didn't put it on.
You made that sound sexual.
No.
I was up at 4:30 and I was already like fucking running around and getting my steps in and my miles in and all that shit. So
the funny thing with you is you get up like on Saturdays, especially, it's like you're obviously up and doing your thing, running around. And so like I typically get up between like 7 and 8. So I'm just like sitting on the couch, enjoying my coffee, playing on my phone, loving on the boys, whatever. Cody comes in and he's little, hey, a million miles a minute. And then after a few minutes, he's like, are you okay? You seem off today. I'm like, I'm just not on it. I'm still enjoying my first cup of coffee.
By that point, I've already had my coffee. I might have drank some green tea.
Oh my gosh, it cracks me up. You're like, you seem off today. I've literally only been up 20 minutes. I'm not alive yet.
What's funny is I think the only people I have conversations with early in the morning are the band. So usually Brick will be up and Pito. Pito for sure is up by that time already. Justin sometimes. Not on the weekends. Justin's a fucking sleep-in guy. So I think, at least. He ignores us, I think, until like 10.
Wow. I don't know that I blame him.
Usually by that time I've already like gotten pissed off at somebody online or something. Fucking went off on somebody. Talked band business with the guys in the band. I'm thinking about what I'm going to post for the day because I have to consistently post because I'm so fucking like I have to keep up with the algorithms.
You got to butt fuck the algorithm.
Wow. And that's how you cook.
Or I guess the algorithm butt fucks you.
Sure. Well, how was your week? How did it go? What big things did you do? How was the last week since we last were on the podcast? Because I think we were on the podcast last Friday. So
things have been good. I mean, my world's never really as hectic as yours. I did buy my ticket to Colorado to see my best friend Amanda this summer. We're going to see Dirty Heads at Red Rocks. And
that's going to be fun.
So I'm stoked. I love Red Rocks. I love Colorado. And Dirty Heads and Deftones are like my two favorite bands. So I am stoked. The D.N.D.
Yeah. Dirty Heads are fucking awesome. I love
rad.
Dirty Heads. I think they're fucking...
And they got their new album coming out.
They don't have one bad song. That's the cool thing about them.
All their songs are bangers.
It's all good stuff. Yeah. So they put on a great live show, and any chance that they come into town, I highly recommend to go.
I think they're going to be at the Reggae Rise Up in Redmond this year, I think.
The reason I think we weren't going to go was because wasn't the singer or something, not the singer.
No, he's there, Jared. He's back. He's in it.
Then we might have to go there.
I don't know. Well, no,
if I'm in town.
It's because of that. It's hard where it's at. Like the place where it's at, I can't think of what it's called. Right, Clark? I can't fucking think of what it's called. But the place that it's at is really cool because you can like camp and stuff. But unless you're camping, it's kind of a bitch to get in and out. I don't know if it will be for Dirty Heads. But when we went to the Country Fest, it was a shit show. We lost cell service because there was just so many people in that area.
Luckily, we were camping there, so we didn't
know,
really...
but I'm saying is like it kind of sucks unless you're camping to get in and out, typically. I don't know about Dirty Heads, but...
I don't know if that Reggae Rise Up will be that busy, though. Like, that was a country fest, and it brought people from all over.
I just don't want to sit and 3 hours of traffic trying to get out and you losing your fucking mind.
I will lose my fucking mind. I don't
know.
have patience for anything. I don't care if it's my favorite band in the world. I don't like waiting in lines. I'm not used to it. I will fucking cut people. I don't give a fuck. Like, call me an entitled prick. I don't care. I'll do it. I'll cut if I can or find my way in and around.
Do you need a hug?
No, I'm feeling good. I'm drinking coffee at fucking, what time is it? It's 8:35.
We got the boys here. The boys got their summer cuts.
Oh, yeah, the boys got their cuts. They're here right by the microphone, and Taz is like super smiley right now. He loves being in this room. I don't know what it is.
He's a star, baby.
And when he's right by the microphone, he's just like all breathing heavy and smiling. But yeah, the boys, we grew their hair out. We started growing it out, what, in August? Or September.
Yeah, I think
we wanted to see how long Taz and Lorenzo's hair would get. And I mean, it really didn't get as long as I've seen the Peekapoos can get with their hair.
Well, I think it's because, Peekapoos are, for people who don't know, are Pekingese poodles. So with that breed, obviously they can look more Pekingese like our boys do, or they can look more poodle.
They got the poodle attitude for sure, and the smarts.
Yeah. So I think if they were true Pekingese, like just a thorough all the way through and through Pekingese, I think their hair would get a lot longer and bushier because they can get really fluffy too.
He's so smiley right now. I wish you guys, I have a camera now. I can start videoing us and our podcasts and whatnot. I wish you guys could see his smile right now. It is amazing. Like
chewing on it.
It lights my day up when I see him smile like that. And Lorenzo too. Lorenzo smiles a lot less. He's more like got the loving face and eyes.
He's a loving Lorenzo.
Loving Lorenzo. And Taz just lights up the room because he's so chaotic. He's aggressive. He's alpha dog, but at the same time, he's like smiley and good energy. Like if the whole world could have the energy and the vibe that Taz has, dude, it would be a great place to live. Honestly,
yeah.
He puts a smile on my face because he's just such a happy-go-lucky dog. So today, Mariah gave them an amazing haircut, and they look cute as hell. They look like they got their little summer cuts ready for summer, and we took them on a dog walk, and they were all excited about that, obviously, because they love going on their park walk that we take them to. They bark at the ducks. They bark at people. They get attention from people.
Bark at kids.
Bark at kids. I mean, who does? There's only one cool kid, and that's my nephew Xander.
Hey, we got friends that have cool kids.
Cool kid, yeah, I guess that's true.
And then I got a new office chair. It's one of those ones that have like the little pull-out thing, so you can like sit.
Oh yeah, you got a pink chair.
Cross-legged.
I've talked about that.
Yeah, that. You got me a KitchenAid mixer since my cheap one from Amazon broke. So you got me the good.
Oh yeah, we got you the good quality one. I said pick out last weekend when I was busy out running errands. I was like, pick out your damn KitchenAid that you want now. I don't care what it is. Just give me the best one. She sends me a link, and she wanted a pink one, which I was like, oh god, pink. All right, whatever, it's yours. Amazon has the fucking colors all jacked up on there, so Amazon, you need to fix your shit, dude, because it's not correct. So we went with what we thought was going to be pink, right?
Feather pink.
And we ended up getting like a white, which is fine.
I'm glad it's actually white.
It fits. It works well. It looks great. And then when we have to go sell it, if we end up selling it because you want to upgrade or whatever, it's more likely that someone will buy it versus if it's just pink when you're limited. I think pink's an extreme color.
Well, I am extreme. I'm Mariah.
Yeah.
I like.
So what do you have?
Black and glitter.
What do you have planned to make for me with that KitchenAid? Because that's what
I need to look up some bread recipes tonight. Well, I mean, tonight I made the dough for the pizzas, so that was fun. I like making the dough.
Yeah.
Working with yeast, watching the dough rise.
We made 2 killer pizzas tonight. We made a margarita pizza with just fresh mozzarella and a homemade sauce that I made, pizza sauce that I make. And then we made a secondary one that was pepperoni and black olive, which is so good.
So good.
Our pizzas are really fucking awesome. I'm not just saying that, but they really are, because we always make our own sauce from scratch. And
you make the sauce.
I make the sauce, and you do the dough, and you roll it out. Awesome.
Recipe.
I made tortillas earlier, homemade tortillas. I've been doing that lately.
They're so good.
Yeah, so fucking, my grandma used to make them when I was a kid, and I got used to eating the store brand for a while there, but looking at all the ingredients that they have in all these, it's disgusting. Like, I'm reading labels a lot more now, and I've been talking about this on Facebook, but am I going to eat the healthiest and the cleanest in the goddamn world and avoid all the toxins that are everywhere? Hell no, that's never going to happen. Unfortunately, this country's okay with feeding us little pieces of poison and garbage because it's in small amounts, it's safe to consume, right? That's how they get away with it. But nowadays, when I can, I am avoiding eating bad food. So I look at the labels, and if it has anything that's a fake sugar or a lot of sugar or high fructose syrup, it has seed oils, canola oil, anything like that, I'm looking out for that. Aspartame, I am not consuming that by any means. I don't do sugar-free crap. I'd rather, if I'm going to eat something or drink something that has sugar in it, give me the plain old fucking refined sugar. I'll take that over the aspartame and fucking over the nasty ass aspartame. But even the sugar stuff, I'm not doing it. I've been free from Red Bulls and soda pops for over a year. I hit a year in February, so good on me on that. I drink a lot of green tea, just regular old unsweetened green tea. Drink that daily. And I drink coffee, obviously. And I drink water. And I drink plain old club soda. And I like to have club soda with like a lime and cucumber, mint, whatever, and then a little bit of jalapeno juice. So I am really watching what I'm eating and what I'm drinking. And just this last week that I've been really paying attention and not doing the anti-inflammatory things now that I'm adding to my routines of what I'm eating and whatnot, I feel so fucking good. I look good. Like you can tell my skin, my face, how I feel. Like I don't feel like I'm trapped in my skin. Like it's just, I'm feeling much better and I'm thankful for that. And man, I've been making changes a lot in my life, like so much. It is good. It's good. It's great. I love that. But I've been making so many changes and I'm not done yet, man. The best is yet to come. I'm gonna go into my 40s here coming in May soon, and I'm gonna put my best foot forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean that is pretty much. Oh, Chuck Norris died. Was that yesterday?
Yeah, Chuck Norris died. Unfortunately, rest in peace, Chuck Norris. Remember Texas Walker Ranger would come on the USA station when I was a kid after watching wrestling. Yeah, it was part of my childhood.
6? I'm like, goodness.
I think we were talking about this. I would be okay if I made it to 80. I think if I made it to 80, I know I say that now. When I get to 80, I'll be like, oh, please give me another 10 years. But I think if I made it to 80, I'd call it a good day. And anything after that is just kind of a
Well, I feel
thing.
like after that, everything's kind of like all your friends are usually probably dead, right? Your significant other may or may not be. So it just gets lonelier and lonelier like the longer you exist.
Oh, that's scary to think about. Like you being
and
an old man, you being
too,
gone.
Like, yeah, and whether you have kids and grandkids and all that stuff, I mean, the older you get, I mean, I don't mean this meanly, but I would assume a lot of families don't want to be like around like someone super, super old like all the time because it's kind of a lot of work. It can be. It just depends, I guess, on how there they are.
Well, the Mexican families, the way we are, is we are very close. We take care of our own. We don't put them in homes. We take them in, and we love them till the very end. So on my side of things here, that's hopefully how it's going to be for me when I get old. But who knows, man? With everything that's going on in the world right now, we might not even live to see tomorrow. Who knows? Like, it's scary. We are living in scary times right now and very uncertain times.
Let's all hug one another.
Yeah, I just think
so much
that
anger and hate. It's too much.
We gotta. Here's the thing. There's the left and there's the right, the blue, the red, whatever. If people would just stop looking at those colors and just start thinking like rationally about what's going on around the world and the people that we are allowing these people to run our lives and the lives of our kids and the future of our kids and what's going to impact them. Yeah. We can take over. We are the people. There's a lot more of us than there are of them. They should be scared of us instead of us being scared of them. And there's going to be a revolution, man. I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen. At some point, people are just going to be fed up. And I hope to God I get to see that day, because I want to see all these criminals and all these crooked politicians and these shitty ass entertainers. I want to see them meet their fate, man. Oh, it just disgusts me, all the shit that they've gotten away with and what they can do and the corruption and all that stuff. It makes me fucking mad on both sides. Anyone out there that defends the blue or defends the red, you're a fucking idiot. Sorry, but you are. If you can't see through the bullshit by now, if you can't tell that you've been lied to every time your party is in there, what you want doesn't happen. What they promise you doesn't happen. So fuck off with your goddamn one-sided mind of thinking.
Well, it's the billionaires. The billionaires control us.
Yeah.
Eat the rich.
Yeah. With that said, we're getting ready for Reno, American Overdose.
I was going to say, what do you got going on at the end of the week?
Next week, we are going to be, next weekend, the 28th, we are playing in Reno at Inferno Fest with a bunch of bands, including the headliner, which is Drowning Pool.
Yeah.
Let the bodies hit the flow. Let the bodies hit the flow. Maybe they'll let me go on stage again with them.
Oh, that's
Last
cool.
time they were in Portland,
Oh, yeah.
Sal
I forgot his name.
Sal from El Nino, he recognized me out in the crowd, and this is back when I was drinking. We took shots at the bar, and he tells me, we're going to go on stage. When Johnny pulls on, you're going to come out there and you're going to sing with us. And there's footage of it that I've shared. But I got to go on stage and sing Bodies with him, which was fucking awesome.
That was cool.
That was a blast. You were in the crowd, right? And you guys videotaped it. Well, you never know. Maybe I'll get up on there if they invite me. I'd love to do it. That'd be fun. Johnny Pool's badass. I got to see them when they had Dave Williams in the band still back in 2001. Fucking killer show. And that Sinner album is fucking awesome. So I still blast that from time to time. And I have the DVD even. So that's how old school man, I'm fucking old school. I am fucking old. Yeah, I'm an older soul.
41,
I think I'm an
baby.
older soul than you.
Why?
I got a lot more gray hair.
You just can't see mine because my my hairstylist sprinkles my blonde just right, so they blend. So if I didn't, my natural hair is like a level 3, so I'm almost black. So it would stick out.
It looks good though. Like you upkeep it really well. So next week's gonna be interesting because we're driving down there. We're renting a van. It's gonna be me. It's gonna be me and the guys. Obviously, Rommel, B, and Brick and Brassy, and Pito is meeting us down there. So Pito's gonna meet us down there with Hope and Xander, and I think Hope's family's gonna be down there. So we'll be meeting down there. I got us a hotel that we're gonna be staying at a couple hours away from the venue. So that way, when we can get there a little bit earlier. We're not driving the straight, 8-9 hours that it takes to get down there. Yeah. So we're driving 7 hours instead to get to the hotel, crashing out there. The next day, we're going to probably get to sleep in. They do free breakfast. They have a swimming pool.
Hours. No, it's longer than that to get to Reno.
It's about 8 hours, 8.5.
From here?
Yeah. From Salem. We timed it, trust me. Anyways, so I'm looking forward to it because it's always fun bonding with the band and we do stupid pranks on each other and we have stupid laughs. Like I swear to God, like we should do a podcast where it's just us recording everything that's being said and done on the road while we're driving down there. But I feel like for sure we would be canceled. There's no way that people would be okay with some of the conversations that we're talking about. We would piss off everybody and their mothers and their fathers and their everybody. We talk a lot of shit. You should be pissed.
I'm kidding.
Some of the shit we talk about. But yeah, I'm excited for that. It's gonna be a good band bonding time and a live show, and it's gonna be fun, man. I'm excited.
I'm excited for you guys.
Excited. And then when we come back, focus is gonna be on shooting the next music video and releasing the next music video. Releasing the next music video, but also shooting the next one after that. That we're always trying to be ahead of the game and ahead of the curve. Yeah. So
then we're gonna do some hopefully backyard fun stuff.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So we are getting fully the backyard is going to be leveled out. For many years I've been talking about this project and getting it done. And finally I had my landscaper guy come out to give us a quote to see what it's going to cost to get at least level, and then Mariah and I are probably going to do...
I have a plan. I have a vision.
She has a vision. So we're going to do what her project vision is. We just need someone that is an expert at getting it level.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with that because then my worry is ensuring that there's still enough of a incline or whatever so that the water goes away from the house.
Decline.
Yeah, that's what I meant. This is what happens when you get me at 8:30 at night.
Yeah. So for those that are not aware, our backyard has always had a big, huge hill-like slant. So we've never been able to just set a chair out there. I've actually had a lot of friends when they sit on chairs back there, like they lopsided, fall over and whatnot, including myself, especially when we'd have parties here and people were drinking here.
A couple drinks too.
Yeah. So I've had more than a handful of friends fall back in the chairs.
So hopefully that'll be an issue after this year.
I hit 2.5 years of sobriety on the 17th.
Good job, babe.
That was exciting. I'll be excited when I hit 3 years because that's just, man, it's crazy to think about 3 years of not drinking. When that surrounded my life. My life was literally just partying, drinking. Everything I did was around drinking. And lately I've been listening to a lot of sobriety podcasts. It's interesting. I think I told you this. But just listening to other people's stories and what they had told me on theirs, what I've learned from hearing these is that everyone's story is so different. Everyone's addictions are very different. Some people drink every single day, and that's how they get by. I wasn't one of those people that drank every single day. I would drink frequently, and then on the weekends for sure I'd be drinking, and I'd take it to another level on certain nights and certain times. And that was just that part right there obviously was bad. But hearing that there's other people that were the same way too, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I wasn't the only one like that. So
Yeah, no, that's why I'm like, I think people don't realize like it can be problematic in many different ways. Because yeah, like you said, with you didn't like wake up and have to drink and have the shakes or anything like that. But
I didn't get arrested. I didn't
no,
get
you didn't get in
domestic
trouble. No.
problems like that, like fist fighting or anything like that. Losing my jobs or anything like that. So that's another thing that I heard on the podcast, on those podcasts, these sobriety podcasts, is where people were like, I didn't think I had a problem because normally people that have problems, they get arrested, they have DUIs, they're
No.
in domestic disputes. I'm like, no, they're not. But then they even realized, they acknowledged that.
Like, not that you were a functioning alcoholic, but people that do that stuff, they're functioning alcoholics. Like, they know how to work around it.
Yep. So that's what scares me, is that there's so many people out there that I know that drink and smoke and all that. They don't think they have a problem because of this. And until they start looking into it a little bit more, or they start questioning themselves. Here's one thing that I heard on the podcast that made me really think. And I'd like to say this to anyone out there that is questioning if they are an alcoholic or if they have a problem or whatever, is that people always measure themselves to the extreme. So they look at their drinking and then they think of their most extreme case of someone that they know that has hit rock bottom, and they compare themselves to that. So they say, well, I don't have a problem because I don't get that. But what they don't do, and what you should be doing, is compare yourself to somebody that does not drink.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you look when you measure yourself to someone that doesn't drink, or that someone that drinks once in a blue moon? At that point, that changes everything. And it makes you really think like, okay, maybe I really need to cut back. So I don't know. I'm loving listening to these podcasts because it's giving me a lot of influence for topics to write about on the next album that I'm already in the process of writing lyrics for and working on stuff for. And it inspires me every day to stay sober, because it's like, okay, I don't want to get to that point. I don't want to get to that point. I never hit that point. Oh yeah, I relate to that. Like, it just makes me feel, without having to go to like, because I never wanted to be one of those people that went, not to judge, I'm not judging anybody, but I never wanted to be one that had to go to meetings or anything like that and just have it take a part of my life like that. It's not something I want to do.
Well, and like when you were ready to stop, you were ready to stop.
Yes.
So you can still be around it to a point.
Oh, I could be around it all the
No,
time.
I mean to a point before it's just obnoxious. You're like, I don't want to be around a bunch of drunk fucks all night, but you can be around it.
Yes. Yeah, that's one thing I've learned, is that I don't like being around people that's all they do. When if you're always just drinking and that's all you do, and then you get to the point of being blacked out or drunk to the point, when I'm hanging around people that are drinking, usually I can tell when they're about to get to that level of not remembering the conversations, or to a level that is just drunk. I'm like, all right, I'm out, because I had so many meaningless conversations with people over the years, both when I was drinking and they were drinking, and those are not real friendships. Those are not real moments, and that no one remembers the next day, and it's like, fuck that. Like, those were meaningless conversations. Nowadays, like, I like to have real serious conversations that I remember, that I can learn from someone or get to know somebody. That means more to me than hanging around people that are just always wasted and on shit, and that does not appeal to me at all. It's a turnoff.
Same. I just want to wake up, drink my coffee, go sit outside in the sun, look at some flowers in my backyard.
I enjoy very different things now than I did,
puppy.
for sure. Yeah. Like 5 years, if you compared me to 5 years ago, completely 180, like, it's not even the same person. Yeah. But all right, well, now that we've gotten some things out of the way, we got Tasmanian over here breathing all heavy and whatnot. My guest this week is someone by the name of Sic Vicious. And I'm excited for that podcast, for you guys to check it out. I don't really know him that well. I met him online. He was actually a friend of one of my earlier guests, Knothead, and that's how he found out about the podcast. So we had a great conversation that you guys can check out in segment 2, and looking forward to that. But for now, we're going to continue on with the next part of our segment, which is the question of the week. Now, this week, we didn't get very many responses. And that, to me, I don't know if people didn't see it, or maybe the question was not something they wanted to talk about. Or I thought the question was very good. But it also, I think, it leaves room for people to be vulnerable, or people don't like to sometimes like second guess themselves or think that something might be like needs improvement. So I think maybe that might have something to do with it. Who knows? But I'll go ahead and pull up the question of the week, or do you want to read it? I'll let you read it since I wrote it.
So, question of the week. What part of yourself are you still learning to accept, and why is it so difficult? Follow-up questions to consider. When did you first realize this was something you struggled with? Do you think this part of you came from experience, environment, or something you were born with? What's the hardest moment you've had dealing with it? Are you trying to change this part of yourself or accept it as it is? Do you think acceptance means settling or does it mean growth? What's one step you've taken or could take toward acceptance?
All right. And I'll let you read the comments too, because there's not that many.
Is it only just Facebook?
Yep.
Okay. So the first one is from our friend Steve Helmer. They say, it's so hard to be humble because I'm perfect in every way. It's a Mac Davis song, you youngster. Ha ha. And then he says, in all seriousness, it's hard for me to accept I'm about to turn 60 years old in April. I can't grasp the word retirement. I was born to rock. Fuck yeah. 55 years of playing guitar. I cannot imagine quitting.
And you shouldn't quit, Steve. I think you should keep going, man. If you still have that drive, you still have that energy, man, that's what it's all about. But I can totally relate to what he's saying there. It's hard to believe when we get to a certain age. Like after I turned 21, I don't think I cared to be like any older than that. I just wanted to be 21 to be able to have like the quote unquote freedom that I felt like I needed to have at that point.
Cars, or do you just do anything you wanted, really?
But now
you were the ultimate adult at that point.
Yes.
Go anywhere.
Well, you couldn't rent a vehicle, I don't think.
No,
at
you're
that age.
rent.
Yeah, I think that's it. And your insurance goes down. But
yeah,
it's hard now to think about that I'm going to be 40 because I don't feel 40. Like I seriously feel like I have a new lease on life because of just all the changes I've been making and just changing my mindset and how I live and all that, which is good. But it's hard for me to accept the fact that I'm 40 because I don't feel like 40 is that old. But when I was younger, I remember thinking, "Oh God, 40? Will I ever make it to 40?" It's a crazy thing to think about. So I hear you there, Steve, and you're only as old as you feel, So keep rocking and keep playing the guitar.
No, absolutely. I mean, I can relate. I mean, I'm 41. I'm like, who let that happen? I still half the time I'm like sitting in my fucking stupid, well, I mean, I'm thankful for my job, but my corporate job, sitting here being a big kid, and I'm like, who allowed this to happen? I swear to God, I'm still 19, like in my head, like just thinking about clothes and tanning and who I was gonna hang out with this weekend with like the group. Are we gonna do like a bonfire? Like, what's up? And here I am terminating people or assisting managers and how to have crucial conversations or performance management. And I'm like, who is this person?
Yeah, it's wild. I think millennials, I think the future is gonna be looking very different for elderly. Imagine when we're like 50 and 60 years old, millennials are going to be like blasting Dr. Dre and shit like that. Like that's weird to think, and tattooed and
my old ass in the retirement home. You betcha. I'll have Ice Cube blaring.
It's wild to think that. Like it's
throwing
just
up West Side.
It's going to be very different, but that's going to be considered oldies like music. So
the throwbacks, the vintage, the classics. You gonna read the other one?
No, you're reading all of them.
Oh, I'm reading all of them. Okay, well. Jerry Johnson says, the fact I'm not 21 anymore. My brain keeps going and my body says, fuck that. I need more sleep. And then Cody replied, I can relate to that. Then Jerry says, at Rockfest, you guys have to hang out with me. You have to hang out with Hybrid Theory. Johnny is an old friend of mine. You guys would get along. Oh, okay.
So it looks like Jerry can relate to Steve on that. And like I said, it is hard to believe that we're at the age that we are, but it's all because I think that we just feel a lot younger, and that's okay. No, that's what it matters. Is how do you feel? Like, are you taking care of your body? Do you have that energy, that drive in you? And that. I think what happens though is that once you start getting comfortable and once you start relaxing and getting lazy and not getting up and doing things and not being active, that's when you're going to start feeling your age. So you don't want to do that. I've seen that happen with loved ones, and it's not a good thing because I just remember seeing my grandma, even into her 70s, she was walking miles, dude. She was doing yard work, cleaning the house and cooking for us and cooking for family. And like, she just was up and down, up and down, up and down everywhere, dude, just taking care of business. And it wasn't until she started, like, we told her to relax. She needs to sit down and calm down and let things be done for her for once. That's when she started going downhill, unfortunately. And I just feel like myself personally, I don't know if I'll ever retire. Like I have so much things that I always have on my mind that I want to do and I have to get done and all this. And it's like, go, 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 go. So like even right now, like we had to get this podcast doing. I got a food that I'm cooking right now for tomorrow's gathering that we have with the family that I'm making
I'm excited
dinner
for that.
I'm always go, always constantly.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why I like cooking.
That's why I always laugh, like, whenever Cody's like, "I've been a lazy piece of shit." And I'm like, if that's what you call a lazy piece of shit, what the fuck am I?
I think it's because I feel like I haven't done everything I want to do.
How many steps do you have in today?
Well over 20,000.
Yeah, I probably have like
I haven't checked. I don't have my watch
500.
on me, so it's even more than that. But if I was to look on here before I update it with my watch,
21.
21,000. So it's even more. I probably have like 25,000.
Jesus.
It's wild.
But good for you.
I keep moving, girl. I keep moving.
All right.
All right.
Our next one is from our friend Kiris Emberborn. They say, I'm not still learning to accept it, but the hardest thing for me to accept was being a highly sensitive and empathetic person. My metal roots and love for the macabre lean me into the more raw and often negative emotions, and for a long time I wanted to embody the badass mother fudge cake. That's cute. I envision that I look like. I first discovered this during a mushroom trip while watching the movie Enter the Void. After watching that while tripping balls, I determined that I am a cancer on the lives of those around me and started planning how to kill myself. This was around the time I was reading the Conversations with God book I mentioned earlier. That book brought more balanced and grounded awareness to my light and dark spots. Being highly sensitive was a combination of nature and nurture. Trauma and abuse required some skill learning to survive that just happened to be innate for me. Empathizing with anyone, relationships have been the hardest moments to deal with, all of them. Not only am I highly sensitive and empathetic, but for the longest time I believed I was unworthy of love and was eager to earn that through codependency. After years of therapy and getting close to 2 decades of walking towards self-love and balance, I've realized that the thing to change was who I allow in my life, and that feeling of worthiness will stick if I provide it from within, rather than seeking external validation. In my case, it was weeding through a bunch of little choices and unconscious behaviors that needed sorting out of, accept, toss, and grow through. The one step that will be common underneath every response you get on this question of the week will be play on, I got tired of the way things were and decided to look within. No one changes until their current life becomes so uncomfortable that the change is the only option. Cody and Mariah, thank you for including me every week. I don't have people in my life that want to talk about this deep stuff, so this scratches an itch for me and feels a bit like a support group. Thank you again for spending your time doing this. You're so sweet, Kiris. We love hearing from you. I think, this
I
is
love
great.
it too. That
And
means
you
a
always-
lot to me that
Yeah.
Kiris always responds and says really intelligent and basically spilling exactly how they feel. Like, I love that. That's
No, we appreciate you so much. And I mean, we're just two kooky motherfuckers over here. All three of us have had, sounds like, some crazy life experiences, and everybody else that comments too. So again, that's what I love about this podcast, is that we can come together and just be human and talk about life shit. No one's any better than the other. I mean, we all go through stuff. How do we overcome it and move forward and be the best us we can be?
Yeah, and I can relate to like where you get to a point where, on like was said right here, where the only option is to change. So for me, for so long, and this is part of what I'm going to be sharing about for my response to the question of the week, is that I can be so stubborn that I feel like, oh, okay, it didn't work. Okay, I'm going to try it again, but I'm going to try it this way. I'm going to adjust this. I'm going to adjust that. And so like I will keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, with making maybe some small changes here and there. But it isn't until like I hit to a point where I'm like, all right, I've tried it every which way that I thought I could do it, but I haven't really changed made an ultimate change that needs to happen in order to make an impact. And I think that's what you get, like, especially for people that are dealing with trauma or dealing with addiction or dealing with abuse and that kind of stuff. It's like you hit a point where you just know that there is nothing else you can do other than make a dramatic change. And it's so worth it. It's very hard at first because it's something where you know that things are never going to be the same. And I don't know if it's something subconsciously that we're telling ourselves, like, what if I don't have this person or this situation anymore after this decision that I make? Or what if I lose friends or family over this? Or what if? You don't know. It's the unknown that scares us. But what you have to ask yourself is, what if I don't change? And what if I don't make this change? Like, where am I going to end up? think about the worst case scenario that can happen if you continue down this path that eventually is going to be a dead end road. One of those things that does make me reflect a lot on decisions I've made, and sometimes even things that I have to decide in the future of what I want to be a part of or involved of anymore. Question again was, what part of yourself are you still learning to accept, and why is it so difficult? So like I was just mentioning right now, for me, I am very stubborn, and I always used to say, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. I really am. I've had to accept that. And it's not only something I accept, but it's also something I'm working on changing. I always feel like I'm one of those people that I can learn from experience, but I can also try to learn from somebody else doing it. And that can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing. Because sometimes I watch someone else do something and they fail, or it ends up not turning out to be good, or something happens. I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely don't want to do it. And then I go back to that person that did it that way, or did this, or made that decision, or whatnot, and how it didn't work. So I don't give it a shot. But then there's that side of me too that comes out where it's like, okay, well, it didn't work out for them. And then I list out every reason why I think it didn't work out for them. And then I'm like, okay, so I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to do any of these things that this person did because I already know that it won't fail, or that I'll fail if I do that. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, because I'm one of those guys that I'll talk myself into doing something, and then I get stubborn. When I get stuck on something, I'm to the point where I'm like, all right, it's going to be do or die. And I don't care if I keep failing. I'm going to keep trying. I think that's what drives me with the band, is that there is a lot of setbacks when you're a musician, when you're going for something that it's for the most part a hobby for a lot of people, but for me it's like it's a lifestyle, it's a commitment, it's what I live for and what my passion is. I don't give up, but there's a lot of things that people don't realize that come in your way. There's financial things. There is commitment from people like that you're working with, whether that you be your band members, people that you're working with, that you're hiring, that, they screw you over, they steal from you, or things are not being done right. To be promoters, it could be booking agents, it could be PR people, it could be a number of people that you're doing business with that just get in the way and they're roadblocks. And then, you lose some money, sure, that's fine. But you also get set back on some of those cases where, now instead of being 20 steps ahead, that one roadblock just sets you back. Now you're an additional 10 steps back from where you were originally. So stubbornness for sure is something that I am very well aware of, and I've accepted the fact that I am. So I have to many times stop myself when I'm trying to do something, and I have to think, okay, is it just me being stubborn? I have to get rational, and I have to think about really what's going on, and think of the outcomes and the possible options that are available. Have I done it this way? Have I tried it this way? Whatnot. So that's one thing I am for sure aware of, and I am, like I said, working on it. Do you think this part of you came from experience, environment, or something you were born with? I think stubbornness was just me being born with it. Both my mom and my dad, very, very stubborn people. So maybe I was born with it. Maybe even from when I was a little kid, I just saw it, and it's something that I adapted. And I think my brother, Pito, is exactly the same way. He's very, very stubborn. So that answers that. What's the hardest moment you've had dealing with it? I think it's been relationships that I've kept pushing for, whether that be friendships or romantic relationships. I don't give up very easily. I feel like I push. And that's why when I talk about like, I can't break up with people. I don't like hurting people and whatnot. I think that's why relationships have dragged out to the point where it just gets to a chaotic mess. And so that would be the example for that. Are you trying to change this part of yourself or accept it as it is? I am trying to change it. I'm trying to, but both. Yeah, I have to accept it that I am like that, but also work on it and being self-aware. I think being self-aware of things that you just can't change right away, or that you can't, that just is up who you are, being self-aware and working to be better about it is huge. So for anything that you do, I think that's important. And then, do you think acceptance means settling, or does it mean growth? It means growth, because like I said right now, I'm aware of it, whereas before I wasn't aware of it. I was just like, oh, no, it's got to be this way. It's got to be this way. Well, why? Because I said, or because of this, or because of that. But I'm aware now that I'm stubborn. And the fact that I'm aware of it shows growth from where I was before. And the fact that I'm working on not letting myself get stuck in that stubborn state is a sign of growth. So What's one step you've taken or could take toward acceptance? Well, for this, I think you got to kind of reflect on moments where you've been called out. I've been called out when I've been stubborn, and then you got to reflect and don't get defensive. So part of accepting is consider the information that you're getting, consider the source for one, obviously, but consider the information that you're getting and being open to think about it from somebody else's perspective or the person that's telling you. Like if you're having problems with someone and they're just saying, well, you're just too stubborn. You don't want to change. You don't want to this or that. Like take a step back from yourself, look and see if this was being done to you, how would you feel or how would that look to you? Like, so yeah, definitely.
So for me, what part of yourself are you still learning to accept and why is it so difficult? I think for me, I mean, there's many things, but the one thing that really sticks out is that I'm a very guarded person in the sense of like, I put walls up and I push people away and I can drop people in the drop of a hat and not even blink twice about it. So that can be shitty. When did I realize this was something I struggled with? I think, honestly, I've always kind of realized it. I don't know, maybe it's my personality. I'm not sure. Maybe it's an Aquarius. Who knows? But I think especially after everything with my marriage and stuff like that and just therapy and self-reflecting, and obviously there's always going to be people in your life, friends, relationships that aren't for you. Everything happens for a reason. But sometimes for me, I can really put walls up and hurt people if there's just like one little thing they do that I don't like versus just having a conversation for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just like past trauma or whatever. It's just easy for me to just say, I don't like them, like, or I don't like that they did that. This tells me their true character. And then in my head, I just make up like this full on story of like, they must just be shitty. Let's push them out. Let's push them away, whether it's a friendship or relationship, whatever. And so I've probably hurt a lot. Well, hopefully not a lot, but I'm sure I've hurt a few people in my life just pushing them away or just cutting them off, whether it's being guarded or maybe within that guarding, it's low self-esteem. I mean, especially back in my 20s especially if I was out in a social setting, I couldn't do it sober. Like I had to like have liquid encouragement. So it's like all these things kind of play into it, but yeah. Do you think this part of you came from experience, environment, or something you were born with? Who knows? Probably all the above, but I would say definitely experience for sure. Just past experiences growing up and marriage and, just life in general and just seeing because people can be really shitty, but that doesn't mean everybody is. So it's easy when you get hurt, you get guarded. And so kind of reflecting off what you said, babe, it's like I can be
Guarded, I think happens probably somewhere in like obviously I don't think you're born with guarded. I think it comes from experience because you see something, whether that be you as a kid, maybe you see family members or you see friendships right away in the beginning that just are not like true friends. And then it kind of just builds from there when you start seeing like then you start looking out for that things and you're seeing more of it, which makes you be even more guarded.
What's the hardest moment you've had dealing with it? I think being alone. You can only push people away or whatever so long. Then you really have to learn to love yourself and grow. And so, I mean, it kind of back to therapy and stuff too. So I think just having those real moments alone, saying, wow, this is kind of lonely. However, do I want to be out with so-and-so or that group or those people? It's like, no, I'd rather sit here and be alone.
So what do you do when you're in that position though? When you're in that alone state, but it's better for you to be than to be in a toxic environment. What are some things that you did or you do when you're in that situation that could help others maybe?
Yeah. I mean, I know this is probably like a cheesy thing to say, exercise. Like I would focus on, luckily I found a really good treadmill on eBay for really cheap, one of the good really running treadmills. So I lucked out there. And so I just started working out, focusing on running, that type of stuff, lifting weights, sitting outside, just being in peace. I don't know, self-help talks. I mean, there's a lot of like audio books and stuff you can listen to. Like I've mentioned before, Brene Brown, she has a lot of good videos and like TED Talks and stuff like that as well. But I'm so weird. I think growing up like an only child, essentially, I mean, I have a half sister, but like I didn't meet her until I was like 17. So it's like I'm used to being alone so I can entertain myself, if that makes sense. So that aspect has never really been hard to me, even to this day. If I'm in a room alone, like, I'm fine. But it does get lonely when you're like, "Oh, I could be out with friends, or I could be doing this," and it's like, "But I'm not." I don't know. Are you trying to change this part of yourself or accept it as it is? Both. I kind of, jumping off what you were saying, this can also make me very stubborn because my walls are up, and especially from past traumatic experiences, I will fight for myself, and sometimes I need to not. Sometimes it's like, why there's no need to fight. Maybe it's just,
I'm not getting defensive.
yeah, defensive. And it's like, maybe just say, hey, that kind of made me feel this way, instead of just getting defensive and shutting everybody out.
Makes sense.
Do you think acceptance means settling, or does it mean growth? I'm going to say, like you did, babe, I think it means growth because I'm able to see that it's happening. And then kind of going into the next one, what's one step you've taken or could take towards acceptance is, like you said, self-reflection. Like, I know I do this, so I'm working on it. And, one thing I've been doing, I know it's not for everybody and I'm not going to shove it down your throat, but I've been reading the Bible. I've been slacking on it this week. But with that, I've noticed, like, it's helped me a lot, because there are a lot of, I have a study Bible, so that's helpful, especially with a lot of the back and forth, and especially in the book of Genesis, the 50 million people and the names and their 20 million kids. So, there's just a lot of good, like, lessons in it, and it can really translate in today into, like, how you act. Makes you kind of question yourself, like, what do you do to be a better person? Or if you're in a situation like this, how do you handle it to not do as so-and-so did or whatnot? So that's been helpful for me. Again, I know it's not for everybody, but for me, I have my faith, so I'm following that.
I love that you're doing that. And
Complicated pink flower over here.
I think that everyone has something that they live for as far as that gets them through. It's good when you have, not necessarily whatever you're into, whether it's religion or faith or whatever you call it, spiritual awakenings and whatnot. It's good to believe in something. There's not a one size fits all in my in my personal opinion for spirituality or religion or whatever you want to call it. What works for you, and it's nobody else's business, and it doesn't have to work for other people, as long as what you're doing doesn't hurt other people and doesn't force other things on other people. You're all clear, man. As long as you're not hurting anybody and not hurting yourself, and it's helping you heal, great. That's awesome. But once you starts affecting other people, hurting people, you're forcing your views on other people, that kind of stuff, that's where that I have a problem with all of that. So with that being said, that comes to an end for segment number 1, but stick around because I have my next guest. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Today's guest is Sic Vicious, a fellow podcaster and a new person I've just recently started talking to. So welcome to the show, Sic Vicious.
I so appreciate you having me here, my friend. Just going to be a great time. I foresee it. What do you want to talk about?
I'm excited to have you on here myself, man. After us just talking a little bit right now behind the scenes, we were already talking about a bunch of things where I'm like, oh yeah, save that for the podcast. So I would say, like, I like to start these off with, tell me about yourself, whatever you feel comfortable sharing with the audience. Where did you grow up? Did you do sports, music? Basically, tell me whatever you want to tell me, and then we'll go from there. I'll listen in, and then when questions come up in my head, I'll make note of it, and then I will politely interrupt when I find an opportunity.
All right, man. So I am a 100% bona fide millennial, born 1989. Been living my whole life up in the Pacific Northwest, kind of just jumping around here and there. I found your podcast through your episode with Knothead. And interestingly enough, I actually got my start in music through Knothead when I was 18 years old. My very first show, I did a battle of the bands where he needed a third member of his entourage to qualify for said battle of the bands. I was a huge fan of his music, had enough of it memorized where I was like, oh yeah, dude, I can quote your CD like front to back. He's like, oh, perfect. Well, come on, we're going to do a show.
That is so awesome, man. That is badass. And he's a great dude. So that
dude,
to
yeah,
get
no,
like that.
He's one of the coolest guys I've ever met in my entire life. Interestingly enough, his story intertwines with mine a whole lot. Going from the age of 16 and forward, friend of mine, Amy, shout out to Skittles. She told me in high school, she's like, oh, I know you love rap. I know you love rock. Like, check out this perfect fusion of rap and rock. check out Knothead. So checked out his music, totally started fanboying on the MySpace. Oh my God, dude, it's so great to check out your music. You're so cool. And he was like, hey, dude, I super appreciate that. Let's just be friends. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This artist that I just discovered that's super dope wants to be my friend. That right there sort of set a precedence for my life going forward, which is just, it's a whole chapter all in itself. But Knothead showed up at a backyard wrestling match we were holding. Him and his wife Annie, he was like brand new to town. I ended up getting the back of my head sliced open with a cookie sheet shot to the head. So his wife super glued my head shut. I'm 16 years old. They just moved to town, and he's like, "This is like super dope juggalo, lifestyle kind of stuff right here. Backyard wrestling music." So I was really, really lucky to form a friendship with him. You fast forward a couple of years, I'm doing that show with him. And it just sort of set a precedence for me where I started doing music myself, with a couple of my friends. Shout out to Neil Montgomery, Spokane Zillazilla. He's been my producer, one of my best friends, since we were in high school. But yeah, man, it's a huge journey. I worked the wrestling scene for a good handful of years until I unfortunately realized, dang, I'm never going to be a pro wrestler due to some unexpected lung surgeries. I had my lung collapse twice randomly.
Shit.
Yeah,
Dude.
it really sucked. It really, really took away a dream.
How does that, so I went to school with a friend of mine who unfortunately passed away in high school, and that's what they said was the cause of his death, was his lung had collapsed. How exactly did that happen, or how did that happen to you?
So what it is called is a pneumothorax. And I was never given like a proper explanation as to why it happens. The best thing they could give me was, for some reason, in tall, skinny Caucasian males, and it's primarily a thing that happens to Caucasian males, your lung will just collapse in on itself. For me, I was the first time 17 years old living with my dad. I was working out at the gym, and all of a sudden it just felt like there was like the big show was just standing on my chest. I couldn't take a deep breath.
Goodness.
My dad was just like, hey, you probably just stretched wrong, lifted wrong, whatever. Get over it, suck it up, be a man. So I'm like, okay, cool, sucking it up, being a man. Well, day and a half later, about 2 a.m, he found me on the stairwell of our house, just curled up. I could not breathe. I'm just like bawling my eyes out. And he's like, well, pussy, I'll take you to the doctor in the morning. And we get there, and they're like, sir, you need to get your son to the emergency room right now. His lung is like 1/8 the size it's supposed to be and full of fluid. Like he's
Whoa.
drowning in his own lung. You need to get him to the ER. So one lung surgery later, they had a catheter in my lung for a week. And boom, out of the hospital, only for it to happen once again a year later.
Holy shit, dude. Like, and you're not wrong in what you said. Like, my buddy that passed away, unfortunately, he was a tall Caucasian male, and at 16 years old, that's when he passed away. Like, you got lucky as hell. Like, man,
I'm a fighter, bro. Like that's one thing I want to say, probably genetically in my family line, is we're just like the rough and tumble folks, rabble rousing, rough and tumble, just we're survivors. So that's what my doctor told me too. He was like, the fact that you for 2 days were essentially drowning in your own lung and you didn't die, he's like, that's amazing. Fortunately, the second time it happened, I knew immediately what was going on, got straight to the hospital, and that was when I realized, hey, I'm probably not going to be able to wrestle anymore. The backyard wrestling group that I was part of, those guys were really cool. They all came to the hospital. We had a really, really cool setup. Those guys actually, they all continued on, and in Spokane, Washington, which is over where I live, we actually have an actual professional wrestling scene now that is based off of the blood, sweat, and tears of a bunch of guys backyard wrestling 20 years ago. It's actually 20 years this year since the start of the backyard wrestling revolution of Spokane.
I love hearing that. As someone that grew up with wrestling myself, my brother, my cousins, our friends from school, and neighborhood kids also had a backyard wrestling setup. This is like back in like 97, 98, 99, when like the Attitude Era was really taking off. Man, we use a tramp. I'm just lucky right now that I have never broken a bone. No one got seriously hurt, but we should have, because we were using steel chairs. We tried to build like the ramps like the WWF had at the time. We put ladders around the trampoline that we were wrestling on. That was our wrestling mat. And then we used garden hoses as the ropes, which was, man, it was reckless, and it was a recipe for disaster. And luckily no one ever really seriously got hurt. Occasionally you get the times where someone gets banged up a little bit worse than they should have, and then maybe there's some tears going on and whatnot, but you suck it up. And man, that's scary to think that your dad, I mean, that was the time. That's what parents did, right? They tell you, suck it up, and you get over it. You don't cry, and you don't baby it. So you are lucky to be alive, my friend.
I'm pretty transparent with my life story. I like to just laugh about it, dark humor, whatever, but I didn't have the best of dads. He's kind of one of those guys that was like, hey, I got my Ambien, I got my pain pills, and I got my wine. This teenage son of mine that lives with me is like, oh, you're going to do what you're going to do. And it's a double-edged sword, right? So growing up for me, my parents moved me from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which was like this little tiny hick white town.
I've been there.
Yeah, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, right? So they moved me out to Worley, Idaho, which is the native reservation, when I'm 5 years old, right? So I'm a little white kid that moves out to this native reservation.
Man,
it was really, really cool for like the first year, because we were all just a bunch of little kids getting to know each other. And I just remember we came back from our summer break, and all of a sudden I'm public enemy number one. And it took a few years and a few classes to understand why that perspective might be. But living out on the reservation, it afforded me the freedom and the space to become as absolutely feral as possible. And my parents did not helicopter, which is fantastic. Nobody wants a helicopter parent. We would go camping for like a week at a time, and our parents would just be like, well, check in a month, make sure that we know you're still alive. So once I moved off of the reservation and I moved back into the city, I sort of just maintained that feral atmosphere about myself, which allowed me to just continue adventuring, right?
I love that. It builds character.
Well, literally. So I'm a huge D&D dork. That was like the thing to do out on the reservation for us handful of white kids, is we would get together in Buddy's basement. We would play Dungeons and Dragons. So your imagination is just like keen at that point. You're just, you have to think, if I'm growing up on a trifecta of professional wrestling, Dungeons and Dragons, and complete feral freedom, my imagination has no bounds, right? Which has allowed me this space to believe that I am able to achieve more than maybe life had intended for me to achieve. I take a major pride point in the fact that I have done more, seen more, accomplished more than what I think the stars ever initially had written for me. I've been a part of 2 smaller local labels that have afforded me to go on tour down the West Coast twice, regionally over 10 times, venues I grew up going to, just really wanting to go see these cool artists. I've performed at those venues, and I've even opened up for some of those artists now, right?
I love that.
I've done music. I've done the wrestling scene. Now I'm slipping into podcasting, which is just sort of, I feel like, the destination point for every guy in mid-30s that's like, hey, maybe I'm getting a little too old and a little too tired to maintain going on the adventures. But my God, man, I have just the freedom that my parents allowed me to have through maybe a little bit of neglect. It endorsed the opportunity to just be in the right place at the right time. And maybe it was the wrong place at the right time a few too many times. But I have made some of the best friends you could ever have in your life. I have seen some of the craziest things. I have done some of the most amazing drugs, met the most amazing women. And it's growing up in these little small towns, right? So let me pull a little bit back to when I grew up out in Worley. So we lived like out in the country outside of the little tiny town. So it was pretty isolated. So I remember my parents got a satellite TV, and that's when I discovered like MTV. I really got to start watching pro wrestling, all of these things. Like pop culture just kind of slapped me in the face, whereas I've been on a long gravel road with like the same 4 neighbors for years now, right? So I'm starting to listen to all this new music and hear this new sound, and just it's resonating. It's not the same four bands that my dad's had me listening to because that's the point at which I'm listening to music. And I'd started telling you this off air, but my love of professional wrestling stems from one particular moment with one particular wrestler, none other than Mr. Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Yes.
That man changed the entire way I looked at life out of one interaction when I was just a little kid. And pardon me if I get a little emotional. Ever since he died, even talking about this man gets me emotional. We had an assembly, right? I'm sure you remember being a kid. They'd have like the once famous in the 70s or 80s person come through to give us the anti-drug talk, right? When they're probably high themselves.
Yeah. Hey, you're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that. That's 100% true.
So we got Rowdy Roddy Piper, and he came to our school, gave the kids, stay in school, make sure you're taking your vitamins, make sure you're listening to your parents and you're getting good grades. And does anybody have any questions? Not a single hand raises. And he goes, all right, now does anybody have any questions about wrestling? Everybody's hands shoot up, right? Nobody cared about the anti-drug speak. We're like, cool, you've just implanted the thought of drugs. We didn't even know what those were until you guys brought it up to us.
Yeah.
I always found that to be ironic about the
Dare program. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the dude. We're pretty much the same era. I was 1986, so we're only like 3 years apart.
Right. I would have been a freshman when you were a junior, so we fit that same little category.
Yeah.
So Roddy Piper, he gives this speech, and out there on the native reservation, believe it or not, I might have been the kid who got his ass kicked a lot between classes, right? So I'm on my way back to class. Boom. 3 kids on top of me. They're just kicking the crap out of me. It's a great time. You're just curled up against the locker like, how long is this ass kicking going to last? When all of a sudden you hear this, or you'll just get the hell off of him. And it's Rowdy fucking Roddy Piper.
Shit.
Grabbing these kids and just yanking them off me. I'll kick your asses myself. You get off of this, kid.
Damn.
And I'm like, holy shit. This is Rowdy Roddy Piper standing there defending me,
saving the day.
Dude, they ran off. Roddy Piper, he has nothing going on. And he's like, well, kid, I'm going to hang out with you for the rest of your school day, which I think there was like maybe 1, maybe 2 classes left. But I got Roddy Piper hanging out with me in my classroom, scowling at these other kids who were looking at me like, when all of a sudden did that kid get the pro wrestler friend, right? He hooks up me and my couple of buddies with some tickets to that wrestling show that they were doing at the casino that night. Went with my parents. Just everything changed, bro. The discovery of professional wrestling, having that moment with Roddy Piper, which through pop culture who Roddy Piper is.
God, yeah, he biggest. So here's a funny story related to Roddy Piper. So my name was going to be Rowdy. It was going to be Rowdy Perez. My dad was obsessed with Roddy Piper. He was his favorite character. The reason I grew up with wrestling was because my dad was so obsessed with it, and he argued with my mom forever. They wanted to name me Rowdy from Rowdy Roddy Piper, and she was like, nope. And they finally settled on Cody. But I'm like, can you imagine the kind of curse that I would have had if I would I'm already crazy as it is and just out of control. Like all my friends are like, when I tell them that story, my mom brings it up. I'm like, that name. Who knows what would have happened if I would have had that name? I probably would have been even 10 times crazier because my dad was a big fan of his, especially when he was in his bad guy era.
I feel like Piper, he was the bad guy era. It's an interesting thing as a wrestling historian to look at. Piper just did so well as a bad guy, but then you just get to know him as a good guy. And you being named Rowdy, realistically, with the way that the universe seems to work and the irony of life's story, you probably would have ended up being just a mellow guy. You'd be an accountant right now.
No surprise. Probably. I was going to say it's going to be either one way or the other, one extreme or the other, but nothing in between with a name like that. So he is from here. I believe he lived out here, not from here. I believe he was from Canada, right? But he lived out here in the Portland area for a long time. My stepbrother actually went to school with his daughter Ariel out in Beaverton, Hillsborough area. So he lived out here for many, many, many years. I'm sure you've seen the documentaries, some of the documentaries that WWE has put out about him.
I mean, and just Portland wrestling in general. That's such a historic era of wrestling. It's funny, I'm actually just a couple days away from going and launching the first episode of my podcast, or rather the filming aspect with Steve. I'm taking a little trip down to Portland to go watch a professional wrestling show. I'm a huge, ridiculously huge fanboy, the biggest mark ever for independent wrestler. Shout out Ben Bishop, Big Trouble Ben Bishop. If you haven't checked out Ben Bishop, and I gotta give him the cheap plug right now. This guy is just one of the greatest big men that's going right now. He's 6'12". Don't you dare call him 6'12". Former basketball player, just an absolute beast. I originally found him on Instagram, and like the snotty, bratty little troll I am, I just started trolling his page, and all of a sudden he was just like responding, but super positively and really fun and like getting in on the jokes. And I'm like, okay, this guy's really fun. Then I started developing a bit of a friendship with him. I would never go out of my way to say that we're friends with he's a world traveling professional wrestler, but he's really, really kind, never fails to respond to my messages. First, the closest he's been to Spokane so far is this show he's doing down in Portland, Oregon. So a buddy of mine and we're taking a trip down there. We're meeting up with Mr. Knothead himself. He's filming the first episode of my podcast, the Close to Cool podcast. Very excited for it.
I love that. That's gonna be so much fun, man. And the fact you're getting video footage of it and all that. I've gone to one Portland wrestling event. A buddy of ours does wrestling, and he used one of our songs as his theme song for his intro and whatnot. And when we went there, we didn't know what to expect, but it was, once we saw it like unfolding, I was like getting into it, and it reminded me of being a kid. I've never actually gone to like the WWE events or anything like that, so that's the closest I ever got to going to see it wrestling. Other than sometimes like we'll see it like an event, like there's a hot sauce festival that happens here in Portland every year in August.
Right.
They have the pro wrestlers from Portland. They set up a ring and everything, and they wrestle, and that's fun to watch and whatnot. So I've been meaning to go back out there and see some more, just because it's awesome to see the stunts that people do, and just there's an art to wrestling for sure. And when people talk shit about it, I'm just like, you don't get it, and that's fine. It's not for everybody.
No, exactly.
It's kind of like with the music that I like and the music that I play. I always tell people it could be for anybody, but it's not for everybody. I understand that. And when people talk shit, I'm just like, I'm not going to sit here and defend it. You can think what you want.
The whole thing about the hatred of professional wrestling, right? I'm okay with it. I understand some people just don't like happiness. No, I'm kidding, but I do digress. There's a certain level of storytelling, right? It all depends on what you're going into and to go watch. I would say today there's more of a focus on the athletics, the acrobatics, the cool moves. There might be a lack in storytelling, which, may have something to do with the decline of professional wrestling as a pop culture. It's interesting. They're selling and making more money right now. The WWE in general, the AEW, TNA, these companies, they're generating more money now than they ever have in history. But at the same time, the crowds seem to be dwindling more and more. And I do believe it's a lack of storytelling. The larger than life characters that stood out in the airport. I have been blessed in my life to have, as I said, I seem to always be in the right place at the right time. When I was a child, I went on a road trip with my parents to California, and we just so happened to be passing the Oakland Arena. We saw WWE Raw tonight, Oakland Arena. My dad flipped around, hey, we're on vacation, let's go do this. He parked in the wrong parking lot when he went to go find tickets, and as these professional wrestlers are arriving in the carload after carload, I'm standing in this parking lot meeting all of these professional wrestlers, these larger than life people. And I mean, some really cool names, man. I got to shake hands with Brock Lesnar. I got to meet Tommy Dreamer. I'm pretty sure that Raven was incredibly drugged out, but he stood there for about 20 minutes just talking shop with me about wrestling. And he's like, wow, kid, you know a whole bunch about this wrestling stuff. Who taught you this? I'm like, man, it's the internet, brother. I can look up what, your name is and probably what you had, to eat this morning somewhere on the internet. And he's just like, wow, it's fucking insane.
How long ago was this? What year was it?
let's see, 36, about 22 years ago. So I want to say 2003, 2004.
Nice. So it was still like it still had a lot of the wrestlers that I would have been
Yeah,
into.
yeah. A lot of those guys were just starting to head into their backstage roles, their producer and agent roles. And I think that's just it's something that we can look at in life, right? A
Yeah.
lot of these people, they spend their lives in this career, and then they move forward, and they share the knowledge, they become the producers. It's the circle of life in business, right? I think a lot of it has to do with music. Knothead and I were speaking recently. I consider myself very fortunate to be a guy that he can call when he's having any sort of existential crisis type thinking. And bless his heart, he gave me a call recently, just worried that he had not contributed enough to the world of music, that he has taken more than he has ever given, to which all I could do was scoff and shake my head as somebody that, had a career handed to me by this man. But, I was telling him, I'm like, if you really feel that you have not given enough, you'd be the perfect venue owner. And I just think roles like that are where true professionals, they generally tend to gravitate, right?
I was
Is
going to say that just goes to show that he has that drive, and I think that drive is what keeps him going probably, and that's what brings greatness is when you have that drive. It's the people that get satisfied that are like comfortable, that you're just like, well, I mean, really, like you're satisfied with that. Wanting more, I think it's the American dream, right? You always want more, and trying to reach further. But like you said, I mean, you wouldn't be doing music right now, like if it wouldn't have been for him. So like that in itself is a huge accomplishment when you can inspire someone and you can get someone to, that was very life changing for you, I'm sure, because many of your experiences probably came from doing music.
oh, dude, a lot of the experiences in my life came from doing music. A lot of the most painful times in my life too came from doing music.
I believe it.
So this podcast I'm starting, the Close to Cool podcast, right? The name is a bit of a double entendre for me. Close to cool represents a few things, right? So I've always been close to cool. I've always got to stand sort of just adjacent of whoever was the most popular guy in the room. I've always felt like I was a good entourage man or a good wingman, or sort of just could connect people in from a background position. So I've always been close to cool. And I've always sort of realized that I am what you might call a moped friend, right? Meaning we know the girls that guys, those shitty guys, they'll call a moped. She's fun to ride, but you wouldn't want anybody to see you with her. I feel like I'm that way as a friendship, right? So I'm a guy that people tend to reach out to a lot for, hey man, I'm kind of going through this thing, or I have this issue going on, or I have this idea. I don't know what to do. Can you sort of just help me piece things together? And I've come to realize that I have to take those things and piece them together for myself. And what I've always wanted out of my life was to be able to sit down, have conversations with people that, whether they're famous or whether they're just a normal Joe Schmo, just to be able to have that same depth of conversation and to realize that people are just people. And it may or may not be a humbling situation for somebody to sit down and have a conversation with a guy who's a factory worker now, right? Who has a family that I'm just trying to provide for. I'm, in the grand scheme of things, I may come across as a nobody to somebody, but I can have that same depth of conversation with anyone. And I think that that's an important fact that you have to be able to carry forward in your life. Is we all have somewhere we've come from. We all have somewhere we're trying to get to. And I think that if I could make a career for myself having a conversation with a famous person like they are not famous, that's kind of the way that I want to go, man. I want to know what the favorite kaiju of a celebrity is, or, what's a ghost story that, a famous actor may have experienced in their life. I don't necessarily care about how many millions of dollars somebody's made this year or what their next big brand topic that they're about to launch is. So I'm hoping that the Close to Cool podcast, as it grows, is just going to be a cooler look at the inside of somebody's brain, their experiences, and the fun stories they want to tell more so than the endorsements.
I love that. Yeah, that's pretty much like what I'm kind of doing right now myself with this is like I want to talk to people, and everyone was at first was like, oh, is it going to be a music podcast? I'm like, well, I'm sure, yeah, at first it's going to be a lot of musicians, and that's mostly what's hit me up to be on the podcast was musicians, and rightfully so, just because music consumes so much of my life. But I keep telling everybody, I'm like, I literally want to talk to everybody. I don't care if you flip burgers at Burger King. Like everyone has a story. Like everyone has their ups and downs in life. And what I want to do with this podcast, because there's so much negativity and so much craziness in the world, I want to try to bring back the human element in people, and making people realize that people of all different backgrounds can have similar struggles and similar successes and similar experiences that might, you may have never even considered. And all walks of life, whether you're famous, whether you're doing you're working on taxes, you're a tax person, whatever, pumping gas, I don't care. Everyone's got something to talk about, and everyone's got something to share. And if that story can help save somebody's life or inspire somebody, or they can learn something from it, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So I love that you're doing that, and I love that that's something that you're looking at, is like thinking bigger than just, well, how much millions of dollars did you make this year, or how many CDs did you sell, or that stuff that's stuff that really just doesn't matter. And if someone wants to find out, they can go Google it. You know what I mean? Like,
No, exactly. It's funny. So you right now, I feel like we're at a very similar place as far as the podcasting goes, right? Give us 5 years, we're going to be neck and neck as number one and number two podcast for whatever genre, right?
I love it. You're
So
manifesting.
it's funny, right? I'm getting a bunch of wrestlers right now is sort of what I have going on right now is a bunch of wrestlers hitting me up, or, me hitting them up. I have a pretty cool roster going forward. Ben Bishop has agreed to be on my podcast. He was like, brother, let me give you the brother rate, the super cheap. I was like, realistically, I would rather pay you your going rate, not the friend discount, because I don't want to be looked at as the friend podcast. I want to be taken seriously. I want this to be a good experience where you get to sit and you get to talk. And as far as being able to help save somebody's life, right? I think that's the biggest dream of all. I have as many cool experiences as I have had in my lifetime. I think that karmatically, I have had to be balanced with some of the most horrifically traumatizing events that you may experience as a person. And one of them that I've experienced a handful of times is people close to me killing themselves.
Oh my goodness.
The worst of which, they're all bad, right? Anybody who dies, it's bad. But I guess the most painful for myself is, my best friend. I was in 16. He shot himself in the head. Trigger warning. Hey, too late. Sorry. We can maybe edit that in if people need it. But I'm a very firm believer that we have to speak about these things as they are. We can't minimize the impact. One of the biggest frustrations I have in this topic, as somebody who advocates extensively for people's mental health, is using terms like, "Oh, he unalived himself." We'll talk about suicidal ideations, but people can't say, "Oh, that person committed suicide."
Yeah. That's always bugged me. I hate that terminology. It's like, let's call it what it is, because it's an ugly thing, and you can't, there's no filtering that. It almost feels like people are watering it down. You know what I mean? It's one of those
That's
things
exactly.
they're numbing it down to where like we're making it a normal thing, or like it's not a big deal. And that it is a huge deal. It's a permanent decision that there's no way that there's no coming back from.
I was diagnosed with schizophrenia at the age of 15 due to multiple concussions that had happened very close together, just as a young teenager. And it's interesting to me how many people try to glorify or romanticize these mental illnesses, whether it be depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. You have young ladies on the internet that they post their TikToks talking about, oh God, I'm so bipolar, because, their mood changed twice in a day.
Yeah.
And this romanticizing of depression it's just led to a lot of misery. And I feel that our generation, that millennial generation, we were born into angst, the 80s angst. We were born into the 80s rebellion. Throughout the 90s, we were just, everything that could be possibly depressing or dark was glorified at such a heightened level. And don't get me wrong, I'm not shunning dark art. I mean, if you listen to my music, a lot of my music is some of the most angry, depressing music that you've ever listened to, but it's never glorified. It's always from a tragic sense, because there's nothing fun about mental illness. There's nothing fun about losing people to suicide. It's an incredibly painful thing, and I wish more men felt comfortable talking about the mental health issues that they have before it's too late. And one thing I've tried to do over the years is just normalize brothers talking to brothers, man. You cannot believe how many men are just desperate to have somebody else, particularly another man, just go, "Hey, man, I'm here to listen. I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to understand. I am here to relate as close as possible and to not make you feel any lesser because you are struggling." Because a lot of men are struggling, and a lot of women struggle too. And don't get me wrong, I would never want to minimize the impact that women have, but I can only speak from the male perspective. And until the male suicide rate drops, uh, I just feel like more of us guys need to have it normalized. Hey, it's all right to talk to somebody. And thank God for all of the young women out there that actually take the time to really check in on whether, it's their boyfriends, their friends, their husbands. Shout out to those women in our lives that they reach out and they actually take the time. I feel like we're on the cusp of a really big revolution as far as the innovation of men reaching out to men, people being able to reach out to one another. We're bringing back the healthy amounts of bullying to thicken the skin, while at the same time learning how to take the no seriously. If somebody's like, "Hey, I really just don't got it in me today, please don't pick on me," it's all right to just say, "Hey, you know what? That's all right. I got your back. Are you okay? How are you doing today?" And one of the worst decisions in my life, my best friend and I, we hadn't spoken a year. We didn't even really have a fight. We just sort of hit that point where it was like, "I love you, but I need some space." He had tried to reach out to me a couple times, and I was too caught up in my own shit. And then I finally was telling the girl at the time that I was dating, "Hey, I should probably reach out to Evan, and I should probably check in on him. He reached out to me a couple times this last week. I just got a funny feeling. I think I'm going to check in on him tomorrow." And that night on the way to work, I get a phone call that he had shot himself in the head. So it's sometimes it really is too late. So you just got to take those moments, and especially there's no reason to hesitate. If you want to make amends with somebody, just make amends with that person. I've lived the Hollywood scenes of, when you get that call and the phone clatters to the floor and you drop to your knees because your legs go instantly numb, and you just scream and you scream until you just can't anymore, and then the tears start, and you can't understand what it's like until you're there. You can read about it, hear about it. But if anybody is struggling with those mental health issues, if you could go ahead and just throw my Instagram link up in the description of this video, I would really, anybody who needs to just have somebody reach out. I got you. I got 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 hours. I got a whole lifetime of friendship to offer anybody who just needs a friend, because I failed in that one moment and I will never do so again. So I advocate heavily for people's mental health.
I love that. I love that. Sick. That's amazing. That's very, very nice of you. And that I just can't imagine you like going through what you went through. I'm just thinking about situations I've been in with friends, and sometimes unfortunately ego and pride gets in the way of arguments and friendships where you might go months or years without talking to somebody, but because of something really stupid, you know what I mean? And I think something like this is a good reminder that you got to let go of that stuff. It's a lot of the stuff that you get angry about, it's just really stupid stuff that you can get over. But living
The
with the regret.
way I look at it is, my friend Evan Barone, that was his name, Evan Barone, Evan James Barone. Everybody called him Turtle. That was my best friend. We were the dynamic duo in the music scene when I was at a height that I had striven very hard to get to. Shout out to Chop Meat Records back in the day, 2009. Those were the guys that I was rocking with. They hired on Evan to be essentially my handler. My kid's mom at the time had cheated on me with a really good friend of mine. I was going through a really hard breakup. So the record label I was on, they were doing their best to just sort of keep me from going to prison or ending my own life. And they were like, the probably the best thing we can do is just we're gonna hire his best friend on. Hey, you're in charge of him, get him to and from shows. And that afforded us a lot of times at shows. And the music I made, it sometimes offended people. There was a good handful of times where he had to be up on stage in the corner of the stage because he outweighed me by about 120 pounds of muscle. He would stand on the side of the stage if somebody tried to attack me from the audience, which has happened a few times.
Damn.
He'd just go ahead and kick their ass real quick. We would get off stage and first thing I'd be is, hey, let's go find some pills. Let's go find some vodka. Let's go find some Coke. And he'd be like, I think you need to go get a pizza. How about we go get a pizza?
I love that.
And I would get so mad until I had a pizza. And then he'd be like, hey, yeah, we can go to that after party. But first, before we go to that after party, let's go smoke a blunt together and let's go sit together up on the ridge and let's go talk about life for a little while. And we would sit there. And next thing you know, hey, I'm just sitting there smoking a blunt, eating a pizza with my best friend up on a ridge after doing a show and not destroying myself because of my own depression. So, moments like that I look back on. And I thank God for moments where I got to stand up and I got to live my life next to one of the coolest guys. And since he is gone, the best way I figured I could honor him was my son, who is a year and a half old. His middle name is Evan after this man. And if my son grows up to be 5% of what a good man this guy was, and I know that as a father, I've done a great job. So shout out to Evan. You may not be here with us anymore, but I thank God for every opportunity we had together up and down the road. When you're sitting in a car with a guy for upwards of, a week, just show after show after show, but you don't play music on the road and you don't listen to the radio because you're just having a good time talking about life. That's a really good road dog. And that's somebody that you got to just appreciate in the long run. And I have a feeling when I'm 80 years old or, if I'm on my deathbed, this is going to be one of the people that I'm thinking about. So, it's just check in on your people, guys. Check in on your people.
100%. He sounds like he was a great person, and it sounds like he meant a lot to you, and I love that. It sounds like he was a great friend to have around, especially someone that tries to keep you out of trouble and keep you safe. And then those conversations on the road, I definitely know all about that. I've done a lot of touring myself. Those late night conversations or those drives early in the morning when you're trying to just get to the hotel or to the venue, you have some of your goofy conversations, but of course you also have some of your deep talks, and you don't forget that stuff. And that's where the real bonding happens, I feel like. So to have a road dog that was taking care of you like that, having those conversations with you, being bodyguard and trying to keep you out of trouble, that's a real friend. And that's those come very far and few between. So having those type of people.
For the sake of karma and for the sake of balance, and I feel like that was a really heavy story. So I want to balance out with kind of a funny one of these. I don't recommend that you do it at home, folks. So that same fella and we had decided one night we are going to take this ounce of mushrooms, the fun kind of mushrooms, and we are going to split it up between the two of us, and we are just going to eat the whole thing at once. And at the time, I was staying with my mom in like a bougie little neighborhood, right? So she was supposed to be out of town. So we were like, check it. We'll go back to mom's little nice condo. We'll go hang out, watch some goofy shit, and we'll just giggle about it. Well, all of a sudden, mom's home. So we have to figure out what we're going to do. So we sit there realizing, oh God, we got about 5 minutes till this peak starts hitting. And we decide, let's drive the hour-long drive across state line back to our apartment. So we go in the middle of a blizzard in winter. And it looks like that Windows 95 screensaver with all the little dots, the Star Wars hyperdrive scene. So we're on our way, and we have our buddy with us who's sitting in the back seat. And every time poor little Jakey Poole tries to talk, man, we just, Jake, don't you talk. Don't you talk. We can't, you can't distract us. And Evan says to me one of the most profound things, and it has stuck with me for the rest of my life. And I feel it is one of those important things that you can only get in a moment like that. He looks over at me and he goes, "Nobody is ever going to entertain us as much as we entertain ourselves."
I mean, that is true, especially in that state of mind too.
When you take that realization, brother, that you will never be entertained by anybody else as much as you are entertained by yourself, you have made the world your oyster. Now, I have walked so many fun roads, feral kid on the reservation, out to being a new kid in this big city, second largest city in the state of Washington, Spokane. It's huge. And you go from there to doing music, and then you're doing wrestling, and you're meeting people like Knothead. You have best friends like Evan, and you take all of these little moments and you take a realization that if you had been timid and you had not gone to the wrong place at the right time, or the right place at the wrong time, or any combination therefore of, if you had decided to stay home, you never would have had the fun. And the biggest thing I want people to take away from this conversation is just get out and have fun. I'm about to take a 700-mile round trip in a car with one of my best friends, simply so I can go ahead and watch a professional wrestler who may or may not actually know that I exist, but he does a damn good job making me feel like I do. And I get to go hang out with Knothead, right? And I get to go do this podcast, all because I decided that I'm going to get up and I'm going to go do it. I'm just going to go have the adventure. And whether or not it pans out, or whether or not it fails, no matter how it goes, I get to say at the end that I went out and I had the adventure, and I can look back and I did something. I took a dream and I took an obstacle and I did something. Now, the last album I sold, I made that album because I needed something to work out to. And that was it. And then I ended up putting that album out. And I feel like maybe you might understand the depth of, as an independent artist with no label backing, over the course of a summer selling 10,000 copies of an album at $5 a pop, that feels real good, man, because I went on the adventure, because I decided to do something. That time I got to work in an indie company as a wrestling agent and producer, and I got to help people get into town and know what they were supposed to do. It was because I went for it and I had the adventure. So, ladies and gentlemen, please just go out and have the adventure, because you owe it to yourself to not just sit at home, to not just watch on social media other people having the adventure, because you can also be out there doing the thing.
You should be the motivational speaker on this freaking podcast, like every time that I have a podcast. I love exactly what you just said. You make me want to go out there and do something right.
Well, brother,
I'm serious. I'm a go-getter myself. I really am. That's why I started the podcast. I'd been talking about it forever, and I was like, you know what? I know I'm very busy already with the band stuff. I handle all the business and this and that, and I got my work and I got this and that. I'm like, I can make excuses all day long, but I just need to rip off the Band-Aid, get started, add another thing, and I'll make it work. Because when you want something bad enough, you'll go out there and you'll figure it out. You'll make the time for it. I don't care if you have to be editing your podcast at 3:00 in the freaking morning and editing video or whatever you're doing. If you really want it, you're going to go out and you're going to make it happen. Don't be one of those people, like you just said right now, that just sits around and watches someone else live that. You can do the same exact thing they're doing. And within time, you may surpass that person. You may be bigger than you ever thought you could have ever imagined. So I love how you say that. Go out there and experience life, because you know what? If you're taking a trip across across the states, let's say you're playing some shows along the way, some of those shows may sink, they may fail. Some of them may do great, but at the end of the day, you can say you did it. There's going to be people you're going to meet along the way. You're going to have experiences. You're going to bond with people that come and see your show, whether that be one person. I've had that happen before where we played and there's literally only one person there. Shout out to our buddy Don. And he still brings that up to this day. And we made a lifetime friend from that show. We played his song. We got him wasted. We made him feel like he was one of us, because he was at that time. And now we have a lifetime friend on the internet that always supports our music when we have new stuff out. So shout out to our buddy John. But you're right. Go out there and experience it. Stop watching videos of someone else doing the things you want to do. Get up and do it yourself and make your dreams come true, because we're only on this planet for such a brief, short blink of an eye time. Before you know it, I always thought that turning 40 was going to be like a million light years ahead of me. But here I am. In May, I'm going to be 40 years old, and I can't believe that. It's like, I remember when my mom was turning 35, and I thought that was old, being in high school and shit.
You are telling me, my friend. So I have two children. I'm going to talk a little bit about my family. I told them that I wouldn't say much just to protect them. You know how people
Yeah.
can be.
Yep.
But I do want to talk a little bit on them. First of all, the person that stands behind me, she knows who she is, and I'm not going to spill the beans. She knows exactly who she is, and she'll probably be cracking up in the other room as I'm talking about her like this. But anyways, without her motivating me and poking me in the back and just, hey, you need to go do the thing you used to go do a lot. I'm so grateful that she does, man, because those motivational things, they come from her. And I got a daughter who's going to be 17 in May, and I remember thinking, man, when I'm 36 now, and when she's 18, I'm going to be 38. And I remember thinking when I was younger, oh man, 38, that's so far away. Brother is coming up so fast. So a big shout out to my daughter, and son, you're almost 2. We'll play later. But I definitely, we had talked about, you take a moment from this podcast and you kind of take it as your clip that you share. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to give you a clip to share, just that moment of positivity that I feel like a lot of people need to hear. Would you
Yeah.
mind if I did that?
Yeah, go for it, man. Anything you want. Like I'm like I said, you inspired me right there when you were just talking about that, and I love that. I'm like, I hope that your podcast is like a lot about that too, because that's kind of like what I aspire for this podcast to be. Is just I want people to be motivated and driven to chase their dreams and stop watching other people doing their things. Like you go do yours. Like, support, yes, but do what you want to do and support your friends while you're doing your own thing too. And
So here is my clickbait moment that I hope anybody who's ever wanted that clickbait moment that they can use against me in a court of law. Here is that clickbait moment. Now, everybody out there, they have a dream and they have a goal and they have an aspiration and they have something they want so bad that it sits there on the tip of their fingers. They can taste it on the tip of their tongue. They know that if they just push a little bit harder, they can get there, but oftentimes they feel like nobody is cheering them on and they feel like they have nobody who cares whether they accomplish it or not. And sometimes you really need that support. So here it is right now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is your moment where somebody is telling you, hey, I believe in your dream. You've got this. Just push a little bit harder, because you know what? If nobody else told you before today, I'm telling you right now, that restaurant you want to open, that podcast you want to start, that move you want to learn, that song you're trying to play, that book you're trying to write, whatever it is you're trying to do, you can do it. And there is nothing that is going to stop you except yourself. And it doesn't matter how old you are, and it doesn't matter what you participated in, and it doesn't matter who recognizes you. Because believe it or not, I have not been recognized in my life by a lot of people, but I can be recognized by myself. And I am here to offer you that recognizing that you may need. So get up, go do it right now. Grab your dream and accomplish it, because we need more artists in the world. We need more people with confidence, and we need people who believe in themselves, and we need people who believe in one another. And whether or not you succeed, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you got up and you tried. And that's all anybody's ever going to be able to ask from you, is that you tried and that you accomplished whatever you set out to do. At least you tried, right? So I want to give a big shout out real quick, because I'm noticing that hour is almost up and I have a child who needs to go to bed. But ladies and gentlemen, big shout out to Ben Bishop. Big shout out to my brother Mikey, to my brother Calvin. Big shout out to Evan. Big shout out to Neil Montgomery, Knothead. I will see you this weekend. And Cody, you should meet Knothead and I down at a wrestling show this weekend, my friend. I will spot you the $20 for a ticket if you want to come with us.
that would be awesome. That would be awesome if I could make it out there. Like Portland's not very far from me. So Sic Vicious, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man. It's been a great conversation. I feel like we could have gone for hours, dude, here. And I look forward to you having your podcast, because then I'm going to be tuning into that. This, like I said, the way you spoke right now, I'm like, I'm motivated now, damn it. And
so Cody, I would love to do a part 2 with you, because there is a whole untapped region that we have not got into. And I want to leave a little bit of a cliffhanger to see if your fans want a part 2. I am also a Sasquatch agitator. I don't try to catch a Bigfoot. I try to piss it off.
oh, here you go. Yep.
So
I
I'm
love
going to
that.
save that for the potential part 2. You just let me know, my friend, and I would be happy to do a part 2 with you anytime. I'm going to have to get you on the podcast sometime talking about American Overdose, about your story, about everything, brother. I want to get you on the Close to Cool podcast, and that'll be dropping ASAP, first episode, not it.
I'm excited to hear it, man. So everyone out there, is there anything else that you want to share for people to go check out, your links and what have you? Where can they find you?
So I will have my links given to you for whatever descriptions right now. I just, that moment where everything that you have prepared just blanks on the top of your head and your significant other was like, hey, you should write all this down and you should be prepared. You're like, nah, I got it. I got it. But then they were just right. Yeah, well, hey, you were right. So when you're listening to this and you want to share it with your friends, you were right.
It will be in the description 100% for sure. I will make sure to put that in the show description to make sure that people can find you and check out your music and keep up with what all you have going on. So everyone out there listening, thank you so much for listening. Shout out to Knothead for, in some way, shape, or form, it's because of him that me and you now connected and talk. So see how that works? See how that works?
He will never take credit for that. He'll never take credit for it. Steve, Knothead, guess what? You're awesome and you've impacted people's lives. And now I'm on a podcast and I can say it to the world. So, yeah.
Great dude. All right, brother. Well, everyone out there, thank you so much for listening and stay tuned for future episodes.
Peace.
And that is the end of segment 2 with my guest, Sic Vicious. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, my friend. It was a great conversation. And thank you all for listening out there. I want to give the shout outs to our 2 subscribers that pay monetary into this podcast, The Liquid Shape, which is Eric Sheets, my buddy, and my buddy King John. Fuck the world. Hell yeah. We haven't heard from King John in a bit, so I'm waiting for him to start making some responses on some of the questions of the week. But I talked to him a little bit earlier this week and had some good conversations about food and whatnot and the health stuff. But thank you guys all so much, as always, for checking out the podcast. Thank you for those of you who constantly interact with the posts and that share it and listen. I'm always so thankful. I think we're close to 400 downloads now in 3 months that we've been an active podcast, which is awesome. We're in over 14 countries. I think close to 100 cities that we've hit, that people tune into us. So it's spreading slowly but surely, and I'm very thankful for that. Keep spreading the word, and please contribute to the question of the week. If you guys have any ideas of how we can make this podcast, we're always open to suggestions. So make sure and give us a rating on the whatever platform you use and let us know what you think. Give us some feedback. You can email the liquidshapepodcast@gmail.com with any thoughts, concerns, opinions, what have you, complaints. But I want to wish you guys all a great rest of your week. You guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.
Hooty hoo!
Hooty hoo!
Be sure to find us on all social media platforms, follow and subscribe.